Right, welcome back. In this little video, I'm going to talk to you about some of my experiences of collaborative natural resources management in the semi-arid regions. And as such, I've positioned myself in front of this dot painting of the Davenport Ranges in the Northern Territory, done by a lady from Kurundi. Brought it back with me. Love it. Still love it. Isn't it beautiful? Okay. When I first got to the Northern Territory and Tennant Creek to work in the 340,000 square kilometre Barkly tablelands, there was a fair amount of conflict, and that conflict had to do with fire. If you can imagine, about 20 or 30 outstation communities, they're kind of dotted in amongst large pastoral holdings or just arid desert. But it was the pastoral holdings that were causing an issue because, of course, those guys wanted their grasses to feed cattle and had an interest in the control of wildfire, whereas the Aboriginal outstation communities had cultural reasons for wanting to burn around their outstations, practical reasons just for safety, hunting. And a few of those fires had started to get away and burn out large tracts of farming land, and regretfully, just before I arrived, had severely injured a station hand trying to control one of those fires in a grader. The grader was lost too. And sort of that's the environment I entered in. And there was a fair amount of disharmony about how fire was managed. There wasn't a lot of discussion between pastoral holdings, Aboriginal groups, bushfires, councils about natural resource management at all. On top of that, we had the impending spectre back then of regional NRM coming to the Northern Territory. And a fear that this was going to be driven out of either Darwin or Alice Springs, and some of those in the southeast Queensland remember SEQ catchments and western catchments might remember what that felt like. The fear of not having your issues addressed properly, not being represented by people who took your issues seriously. It can seem silly in hindsight, but at the time it was very real. And so we had this situation where we thought we were going to get left out. We were concerned that our issues wouldn't be taken seriously, and yet at the same time we were in no way prepared for a collaborative model of NRM management. So it seemed the thing to do was to get everybody in a big room with an amazing amount of butcher's paper, sit down for a few days and try and work this stuff out. Because we knew NRM, regional NRM was coming, what we did is we worked on an interim NRM strategy for the semi-arid lands, the Barkly region. And it worked quite well. It was a little, iffy and shaky at first, but we did have all the pastoral stations show up. We had the two councils, the Town Council, Jalalakari Council Aboriginal Corporation, Jalalakari Burramana Aboriginal Corporation, NT Bushfires Council, the state government, and the pastoral organisations, DPI. We had good support, and we came up with a strategy. I'll see if I can not shaking you around too much. I'm not really good with these iPhone things. This thing here, which is not much of a tome when you compare it to today's NRM strategies, but at the time it was a significant thing. And what's more, it was accessible to everybody that participated in those groups. And that provided our input into regional NRM. It became a foundation document, in fact, for regional NRM, and in 2004, the year it came out, it won the State Land Care Award, which was huge for the Barkly because we'd gone from sort of not being heard at all to being an award winner, and that was significant. Beyond all of that, I do drag it on, don't I? the key things that came out of that with fire management was we started a new training regime for wildfire operations, so that we had a model that we could put Indigenous community youth through that was not so complicated but involved more of the practical skills. We had more sharing of resources, pastoral companies lending graders to Aboriginal outstation communities so they could cut lines around their blocks. Got some photos of that somewhere. Yeah, look, it's one of the things I'm most proud of. There are other things out there that, are still in need of attention, but the work we did on fire management in the Barkly and around the Davenport Ranges behind me there remains one of my proudest moments of collaborative natural resource management planning and implementation. If you ever have a chance to get out that way, go check out that part of the world. It's pretty awesome. Okay, thanks.